Today, we have the complete shambles of what they've done with universal credit. Competence is not a word that springs to mind when I think of the Tories. The original concept of universal credit was to make work pay, and when we supported it in coalition, it would have done. Since then, though, over £3 billion has been taken out of the programme. The work allowance, for instance, an amount people on benefits can earn before their benefits start being reduced, has been slashed to the bone, in some cases to zero. And the taper rate, which determines how much people get to keep of their benefits for every extra pound earned, has been cut to ribbons. This has rendered the entire principle, the guiding principle behind universal credit to make work pay, something I and the Liberal Democrats passionately believe in, utterly worthless. Universal credit is no longer a progressive, reliable policy. It is a complete train wreck, and the Tories are responsible. It gets worse. Housing benefits paid directly to the tenants, something I fiercely opposed at the time when I was on the Work and Pension Select Committee, telling the ministers that it would lead to a shocking rise in rent defaults, and I remember so clearly the then Secretary of State chiding me for not trusting that tenants would pass the money on to their landlords. The result, and this is even before the full national universal credit rollout, has been every bit as bad as I feared, and in fact worse. Latest figures from the likes of the Peabody Group, a housing association which owns and manages more than 55,000 homes in London and the South East, have said the rate of rent arrears amongst its tenants on universal credit is 3 times greater than those not on the new tenant. That's 3 times greater. Or Gloucester City Homes, which has 4,000 rented properties in their portfolio, they've said that 85% of its universal credit claimants are in arrears, compared to just 20% of all other tenants. These are utterly shocking figures. The Tories' incompetence and ideological fixations over universal credit are leading to appalling consequences for thousands of people. And if universal credit is not checked, stopped right now in its tracks so the failings can be properly addressed, it will be tens of thousands of our fellow citizens across the country slipping into grotesque levels of debt. And remember, many of these will be disabled people. Conference, it's just plain wrong. Frankly, I believe if we do not have a pause, I see thousands of families even losing their homes, because I do not see that the private sector landlords will be as accommodating as local councils when their tenants fall into rent arrears. And the delays in recipients actually receiving their new universal credit payments are making a grim situation even worse. Conference, it is becoming common knowledge that many recipients on the UC pilots weren't receiving their new rolled-up universal credits for 2 or in some cases even 3 months. Imagine for a moment what this actually means. These aren't folk who have lines of credit into the local bank. It's people who are often disabled, disadvantaged, people who have been out of work for a long time. So for them to borrow money to cover the debts that they're incurring because of the failings of universal credit means they are going to be talking to loan sharks, pawnbrokers, and payday loan companies. In short, these are some of the most vulnerable people in our country, being crushed under an initiative which is flashing red warning lights of a strobe light intensity for all to see. And what are the government doing? Nothing. They are determined to continue the mass rollout. And in fact, it comes to my own constituency, Eastbourne, in October. Myself and the team are trying to prepare as best as we can, but we are profoundly anxious of the impact on my constituents. I therefore believe it is crucial, for the sake of the hundreds of thousands of people not yet on universal credit, but whose lives will be ruined if we don't act, that the Lib Dems and Labour join together in causing for a pause to this rollout, to see if it can be rescued before it's too late. As the party's DWP spokesman, I know the Labour Shadow Secretary of State, Deborah Abrahams, well. I worked with her on the Work and Pensions Select Committee when I was last the MP, and I was impressed then, and I'm impressed now. So I'm saying to her, let's both join together in demanding the government pause the UC rollout, and let's do it now before it's too late. Finally, friends, I started the debate questioning the Conservatives' wholly unwarranted reputation for competency. So next time you see a Tory minister introducing another policy which has shambles written over it, like universal credit, I want you to do something for me. I want you to stick a red nose on them, as well as a pair of size 15 purple shoes and a spangled jacket, because you will then see what the Conservative Party really stands for. And it's not competency, it's being a 22-carat, copper-bottom, red-nosed, purple-booted clown. Friends, support me in this motion. Thank you.